Then when I grow up, coach, what are you gonna be when you grow up? 3 ways to figure out when and if to call it quits. Step number 1. Do a gut check. When I was little, my parents taught me about the uh-oh feeling. And it was more about stranger danger, like you just get that feeling that something's not right. You don't have to say why it's not right. Logic does not have to be involved. You just have to get the hell out of that situation. If you're getting some level of that uh-oh feeling, it doesn't have to be super extreme, then back off, get out of there. There is something not right, and you don't need to stick around and see what it is. If that brings up something in you that says, but wait, maybe I want something a little bit blah, 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 and you get like the opposite of the uh-oh feeling, you don't want to let it go for a very legitimate, real, authentic, exciting reason, not reasons having to do with guilt, then I think it's worth going back and saying, has this project or career gotten off the rails of what I originally set it out to be? Because usually that's where the uh-oh feeling is coming from. It's because your values and priorities are no longer aligned. So you have to figure out how to get them back aligned. Step number 2. I'm taking a cue from Jonathan Fields' book, Uncertainty, in which he talks about a session he had with a long-standing client who came to him after they worked together for something like a year and said to him, hey, you know that startup business that we've been working on for a year that I'm growing from scratch? Yeah, I've finally decided that I'm not going to do that anymore. It feels like a huge weight is lifted, and I think this is really the right decision for me, and I'm thrilled. Jonathan Fields, being a good coach, asked her to close her eyes and envision herself getting to the end result of what she wanted for this company in the first place. Picture what it would be like to get that investment check for $1 million. Think of being on the cover of Inc. magazine. He gave her a little while for that to sink in, and he said to her, do you still want those things? And she answered, yes, I do, I would kill for them. And that was just what she needed to get the motivation, get back on the horse. Sometimes it's near impossible to keep that end result vision in your mind when you're working through the drudgery of all the everyday things that you need to do in order to get there and make it happen. Although I have to make an amendment to this because as a former actor, I would love to win a Tony. And if Broadway called right now and said, hello Michelle, this is Broadway, we have a part for you, I'd be like, great, I will be right there, thank you so much. But I would not do what it takes for me to get on Broadway, because Broadway does not call and people just don't hand you $1 million checks and you don't just get on the cover of Inc. magazine. If you do still feel so connected and enthused and inspired by that end dream, take it one step further and think of what you have to do to get there. And if that is falling flat and you are saying, oh, no thank you, I'd really rather shoot myself in the face than wake up at 5 a.m. to get in line for a cattle call so I could sing 16 bars, then you know that that's something that you probably want to put aside, put on the back burner, or pursue in a different way. Step number 3, put the fun back into it. Whatever you are doing used to be fun, or you started it because it was going to be fun, and now it's not. And this happens a lot, especially to people who have just left their jobs and they're now doing their passions full time, that all of a sudden this thing that they used to do for fun is now work and it's business and it's serious. So commit to running an experiment for 1 week, just 1 week, which is not a lot of time. Literally put on your computer, put a post-it note that says fun, and do whatever that means to you in regards to your work. So for me right now, I could have written this post and that did not seem fun. I wanted to talk to you instead, so I'm on this video. Just commit to that frame of mind for 1 short week. Then you could go back and be all like super librarian about it. And then if it's still not fun or you can't get the fun out of it, then I think it's time to say, I'm putting this aside. I do that with shopping, and I feel like you could do it with the project. If I see something that I love and I know I don't need it, or I know it's too expensive, I leave it and I leave. And if I keep thinking about it, I'll go back and buy it. But once I'm out of the store, if it's not that important to remember a few days later, then it's not worth me spending my money on. So I think you could do that too with a project like this. So bonus tip, take a hiatus and see if you're called back to it in some way. If you are, then it's time to reassess, what about this did not work the last time, and what could I do, what could I start tweaking to make it work better for me? Enjoy! Bye! So when I grow up, coach, what are you gonna be when you grow up? That was amazeballs.